to talk about how I got here. That's me. And this is my a cappella group. I'm going to tell you the story of how we were funded by an online community who are investing millions of dollars, funding all sorts of ideas all over the world. Creative, tech, charitable, even a cappella Christmas videos. Let's begin this story by jumping back just 1 minute. Here's me again. And in exactly 6 seconds, I'm going to instantaneously receive $2,000 from a group of complete strangers on the internet. And now, it may not look like much, but I've just taken part in a grand experiment by becoming the latest recipient of funding from the world's first open source brand. So how did this happen? How does this all work? And what are these giant glasses? The answer? Well, it's a story about crypto and NFTs and a huge pile of money and a community that I found myself a part of that changed how I think about all of these things. But in order for me to tell you this story, I'm going to have to go back further than 1 week. So let's go back all the way to the beginning and I'm going to tell you about nouns. This is a noun. In fact, this is noun number 1, an NFT that was generated on August the 8th, 2021. This noun is a fox noun. See, its little head is actually a fox. But it could have been many things. Nouns can have all sorts of heads, any person, place or thing. There are garlic nouns, pirate ship nouns, this void noun that gives me existential dread, and oh, look at this guy, this is a delicious donut noun. What a noun is decided entirely by code at the time that it's generated. And along with interchangeable heads, a noun can be made up of almost endless combinations of bodies, accessories, and they always sport a pair of nounsy glasses called noggles. All of this, the nouns, the noggles, every bit of artwork are all in the public domain and have no copyright. Even every bit of code that was used in building the Nouns project is free for anyone to use in any way they like, which makes Nouns the world's first open source brand. It's basically the opposite of what we're used to seeing brands do with their intellectual property. Like, imagine you wanted to put Mickey Mouse on a t-shirt and sell it. You probably couldn't. You'd probably get shut down or sued by Disney. But if you wanted to put this shark onto a t-shirt and sell it, you could totally do that. You could do whatever you want with it. You could make a shark toy, a shark sushi restaurant chain, a shark movie, and you wouldn't need to pay anyone or ask anyone to do it. So nouns are randomly generated characters and they're in the public domain, but there's a little bit more to it. The moment noun number 1 was generated, it was then put up for auction and 24 hours later was sold to a member of the public for 613 ether.
Sold to you. Thank you so much, sir.
Then, immediately after that auction closed, noun number 2 was born. Then, noun number 2 was auctioned off. Then, noun number 3 was born. Then, noun number 3 was auctioned off. Noun number 4 was born, and every day that passes, a new noun is born and auctioned off to the highest bidder. And this will continue indefinitely. And that's why it says on the Nouns website in big bold letters, 1 noun every day forever. So what happens with all this money from the auction? Good question. Let me explain. The moment a noun's auction settles, 100% of the money goes straight into the communal treasury. So with a noun sold every day, the treasury grows every day. Each noun owner has a say as to how this money should be spent, with 1 noun NFT equaling 1 vote. This hive mind approach to decision making makes nouns a DAO. The Nouns DAO. Ideas or proposals are pitched to the Nouns DAO by people from around the world, and the noun owners vote for a proposal or against a proposal. If an idea being proposed gets enough for votes, money from the treasury is then automatically sent to the person who submitted the idea. What I find really interesting about this open call for ideas is that it's open. Truly, like anybody in the world with a good idea can be part of the Nouns experiment. There are people from all sorts of backgrounds getting in the mix. And what that means is that the ideas being pitched are truly diverse. Things like film and TV projects, nationwide cleanup efforts, extreme sports athletes sponsorships, Web3 infrastructure, rainforest conservation. They even named a species of frog, and he is cute. And so if we look at the bigger picture idea here, if Nouns funds enough important and impactful, impressive ideas that people love, it could become a massive brand. Because if the Nouns brand value grows with all these cool things they do, then the value of Nouns NFTs will increase and so will the size of the treasury. Then, this even greater pool of money can be used to do even more positive and exciting things in the world, which gets Nouns even more positive attention, which further increases the NFT value, which means even more money, which means more cool stuff, and so it goes on and on and on. This idea is what the community calls the Nouns virtuous cycle. Okay, so there's a lot to take in here. Nouns is an NFT project. It's an open source brand, it's an online community and funding body. And now that you know all of that, that brings us back to here. So, you've got Nouns DAO dedicating serious money to fund ambitious proposals, like Proposal 104, which gave thousands of free glasses to kids who need them, or Proposal 51, which sponsored extreme sports athletes around the world, or Proposal 109, a full cut and sewn clothing line, or Proposal 73, creating a giant float at this year's Rose Parade. And then there's this, Proposal 23. This was a particularly special proposal because whilst these big ideas are impressive, not every idea needs $1 million. Nouns wants to fund ideas of all sizes, even the small fries. Getting a constant deluge of tiny proposals 24/7 was not really feasible.
It's too much. It's too much.
So somebody came up with a solution. This is Prop House. Prop House was specifically designed to provide a much easier and faster way for people to pitch ideas to Nouns and get funding. And the way it works is genius. Prop House is essentially an auction in reverse.
It's basically the game in reverse.
In a traditional auction, an auctioneer puts an item onto a plinth and people bid against each other, offering more and more money until the highest bid wins. Cool, straightforward. Now let's do a Prop House auction. We'll replace the item with a pile of money. And now, the people bid with their best ideas of how to spend the money. The auction house would then accept the most compelling idea, and the winning bidder would receive the money pile. And Prop House is auctioning off these sums of money every single week. Whatever idea or ideas is most interesting to Nouns at the end of the week is automatically sent the money. And then a new round is initiated and the whole thing starts again. One Prop House round every week, forever. Prop House is how we get from radical open source brand Nouns to little old me making a Christmas a cappella song with my friends. Once I saw how Prop House worked, I was like, I want to try this. I needed to find an idea that Nouns would find interesting, but would also be something that I was uniquely suited to create. I'm a good singer. So I thought, well, maybe I can do a proposal to sing for Nouns. So I called the girls in my band and I explained to them everything I just explained to you. And I was like, what do you think? So I just explained the whole thing again. With the girls on board, I pitched the first Nouns a cappella song to the community. I went to the Prop House website and clicked on the current open round for Nouns. I then realised I had to set up an Ethereum wallet because Nouns pays out in Ether. So I nicked off for a minute to work out how to do that. It's really easy. And if you want to set up your own Ethereum wallet, you can just ask Harriet here and she'll show you how to do it. Boop. I connected my shiny new wallet to the Prop House website and wrote my proposal explaining who I am. I provided some examples of other videos of my a cappella group. And then I suggested some potential lyrics for a Nounish Christmas carol so they could imagine the final product. And then I clicked submit. Once I had done all this, I shared my proposal on Twitter, got on Discord, I spoke to people at the Nouns Square, and I discovered something that I'd heard a lot about, but I hadn't really experienced myself. I have spent so much time researching and writing about Nouns to make a video about it, feeling like an observer on the outside. But then all of a sudden, without really realising it, I became part of Nouns. And I discovered that underneath all the tech, this is really just a community of creative people like me coming together to try something new. I thought that Nounish a cappella might be a little bit too niche, but it turns out that the more niche, the better. And I was met with openness and curiosity and excitement. Over the next few days, votes started to roll in for my Nounish Christmas carol. And by the final day of voting, I found myself here.
It's done!
7 days after I'd submitted my proposal, I'd received the most votes for Prop House round 12 and was funded $2,000 alongside the other 4 winners in my round. The 5 of us had received the most votes from Nouns and were considered the most Nounish. Throughout this whole process, I kept hearing and seeing people refer to Nounishness or being Nounish, and initially I had a hard time grasping what that really meant. Often the response to what is Nounish is being Nounish is the ideas getting funded by Nouns. And that felt so vague to me. But actually, now that I've been through the process and built for Nouns on Prop House, no answer could be more spot on, because being Nounish is being you and sharing your ideas with a community of people all doing the same thing. It's an invitation to contribute to a community that isn't interested in strict definitions, a community that celebrates the innovative and the absurd. And it felt so cool to enter into this community and create something to spread a little bit of Nounishness. And who knows, now that I've been funded through Prop House, perhaps it's time to put in a more formal proposal for a full Nouns a cappella album. Nouns and Prop House are changing the way that creative and entrepreneurial people are getting paid to do what they're already good at. And these people, known as the Nouns Builders, will continue to shape, influence and inspire the Nouns DAO moving into the future. Every day. Forever.
Wish you a Nounish Christmas. We wish you a Nounish Christmas. We wish you a Nounish Christmas and a happy Noun year. Great builders, come now to the world's greatest DAO. We wish you a Nounish Christmas and a happy Noun year. Happy, 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 happy Nounish. Happy, happy Noun year.